So you just got orders to San Diego, you're an E-5, and you're wondering, is it even possible to buy a property in 2025 on an E-5 pay and BAH? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over just that. Just to give context, I got started in real estate as an E4. I bought my first property in San Diego, and we ended up getting a property that was a life changer for me financially. So if you can pull it off, this is something that I really hope you pay attention to. Let's go ahead and dive into the numbers. Now, I'm making a few assumptions here that first, you are an E5, you've had 3 or more years of service, that we're going to get you a 6% rate. I'm not a lender, I'm saying in general, we can introduce you to lenders who can help you get this, assuming the interest rates cooperate. A 30-year fixed rate loan, which is standard for VA, and that comes down to around $750 a month per $100,000 of debt, including a VA funding fee. Now, that does not include homeowners association fees, HOA fees, and this assumes your base pay of $36.37 for 2025 and the BAH for E5 with dependents of $39.87. The nice thing about BAH income and BAS is that they're allowed to multiply this by 1.25% or 1.25 multiplication factor, basically accounting for the fact that it's not taxed. And if you were taxed, you could be expected that it'd be taxed up to 25%. And since loan qualifications go off of gross income, they're saying, well, this is untaxed income, multiply it by 125%, and now we get a number of 49.83. So in theory, as far as the lenders are looking at you, they look at you as making 49.83 plus your base pay, and if you have CPay and other stuff, that might come into play as well, but a total of 86.20. And that's actually, you know, hey, that's not bad. It's something we can work with. And so let's take a look at it. So if we say, okay, 86.20, and let me pull up my trusty calculator here, 86.20, and if we say, all right, let's be conservative here, 86.20 a month, and let's say you have no debt, you're responsible with your credit, you've got a good credit score, you know, you don't have any major car payments or credit card payments like that. You don't carry debt. So 86.20, we're going to multiply that just by 0.5. This is a 50% debt to income ratio, which isn't too aggressive. I mean, VA can actually go higher than that. There is not an official debt to income ratio cap for the VA loan. This is not true of FHA. It's not true of conventional loans. There is nearly always a debt to income ratio cap. VA, among many benefits, has no debt to income ratio cap. There's many other things as well we can talk about, and I've made videos on that as well. But let's look at this for now. So 4310, this tells us that at 4310, if we take this and divide this by my calculation here of approximately $750 a month for principal, interest, taxes, insurance, PITI. If we divide that by 750, that should tell us how many hundreds of thousands you might theoretically be in the park for. All right, so 5.7, so about $575,000. Now, that's not accounting for HOA, like I said, and honestly, in this budget, we're pretty much going to be looking at condos or attached units. No problem there. Let's just go ahead and assume a modest HOA of, let's say, $400 a month. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here to the San Diego multiple listing system. What we're going to do is we're going to go, okay, status active, and we have townhomes, twin homes, condos. We're looking in San Diego County, and we got a price point of $500,000 set up here. We could go a little bit higher, but you know, let's keep it at $500,000. Let's see what we can get for $500,000. Active properties only. Let's go ahead and throw in a max HOA fee of $400, we said. Ooh, hold on now. That gives us 199 results right up here. That's a lot, honestly. So let's change some things up. We didn't put any minimum beds. Let's do 2 beds minimum. Let's do 2 baths minimum. Let's say you want at least 950 square feet. And bam, all right, we got 34 results. Now, there's a lot of other criteria that could come into this. Maybe you want to be first level. Maybe you don't want to be all of San Diego County. Maybe you want to stay west of El Cajon. I don't know. But let's just see what we got available. Can't be too picky, right? We're talking E5 BAH, which is, we're in an expensive market. And real quick, now, I am not filtering these by VA approved properties. So if we're buying a detached single family house or a 2 to 4 unit, the regulations and guidelines for VA lending are a little bit different. You don't have to have the property on a VA approved list. However, for condos, for attached units, not all attached units. If it's a PUD, it's different. If it's a planned urban development, it's a little bit different. But if it's a condo, which most of these are probably going to be, then technically speaking, for just a turnkey VA loan, we're going to need to have it on an approved list. Not a problem. That's something I'll verify before we go and view or submit an offer on a property. But let's just go ahead and see what we got, because we can cross that bridge when we get there. Sometimes a property is not listed as VA approved and it really is, and vice versa. So we can get creative there as well. And there are other options if something's not approved. All right, guys. So we got a few properties here. Let's check this one out. Melrose Ave, Chula Vista, 2 beds, 1.5 baths, built in 1972, 980 square feet, listed at $499,000. They had a price reduction on the 11th, so a month ago yesterday, on the 11th of July. It's been on the market for 50 days. That's a pretty good amount of time. Now, in the current market, this is not the most abnormal thing ever, by any means. A lot more properties are sitting. This could mean that it's overpriced. It could mean that there's difficulty getting in to see the unit. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that could be going on here. But the bottom line is, as a buyer, 50 days on the market and a price reduction tells me that the seller is probably somewhat motivated and you're going to be in a good position for negotiating. So this is kind of southeast Chula Vista area, not in Otay, but kind of in old Chula Vista. For bases, you're going to be close to Imperial Beach bases. And you're probably going to be about 25-minute drive from Coronado, depending on traffic. Point Loma is going to be a little bit further because you got to go up and around. 32nd Street base, probably 20 minutes or so, also depending on traffic. So not a bad location. Oh, and a cool thing about this one, I mentioned PUDs earlier, planned urban developments. This one's a PUD. So we got the APN here lending in 00. This is not a condo. So this actually means it's much more flexible. I already know now that it does not have to be on the VA approved list. So you could have a VA buyer, you could have an FHA buyer, and this also benefits you when it's time to resell as well. Let's take a look at another one. Lowell Street, La Mesa, 1,156 square feet, 2 beds, 1.5 baths, 484, 62 days on the market. HOA fees of $390 a month. This one does have some other fees of $150, so $540 total monthly fees. We'd have to check out what the other ones are. Let's see what it looks like here. All right, it's got a little patio even, some stairs. Cool little kitchen. So yeah, hey, there you go. Something like that could be an option. 1,156 square feet is actually a decent size for a 2-bedroom, in my opinion. Let's check out another one. Preciosa in Spring Valley, 1,000 square feet, 2 beds, 1.5 baths, $450. It's been on the market 38 days. Again, guys, longer this time is, if the seller's motivated, we have some leverage for negotiating. $325 a month HOA. Kind of looks like it's maybe a townhome style too, so nobody above or below you, just people on either side, which is a bit more private of a setup. Built in 1982, comes with a parking space. Oh yeah, I wasn't looking at parking spaces for other ones. So anyway, all right, let's see. Next one, Kenwood Drive, Spring Valley, $450, 35 days on the market. We're not looking at Borrego Springs. Decker Street, El Cajon, 6 days on the market. I'm just going through a few of these kind of quick right now. 1,318 square feet, 2 beds, 2 baths, Madison Ave in El Cajon. You know, not all these are going to be great. This thing's been on the market for quite some time. I don't know what's going on with this one. Let's go check out. Let's see what cool ones we can find. Mollison, Cherrywood. Let's see if we can find some outside of El Cajon now. Pepper Drive. Okay. Midway. All right. So in Escondido, Midway, 2 beds, 2 baths, 964 square feet, $439,000, 16 days on the market. I think there was 2 of these. Yeah, another one on Midway as well. So these look like they've been remodeled. $340 a month HOA, 2 parking spaces total. Another one in Escondido, Lakeside, a few in Lakeside, Oceanside, Ramona. That's a little ways out for commuting to a military base. But hey, if you like a little bit more space, a bit more of a country feel, I think it kind of feels like Texas out there a little bit. That's an option. So there you go, guys. Look, the point is there's a lot of properties for sale. Right now, we have more inventory than we've had since 2019. This puts you in the driver's seat when it comes to buying. Of course, interest rates are not where we'd like them most of the time. But again, the good side of that is, in addition to many other things, VA often have the best interest rates available. At least equal, if not better than FHA, better than conventional. And oftentimes you're like half a point better. In some cases, I've heard of some people getting 5% interest rates lately. So We have some options. If buying a property is on your bucket list for 2025 or 2026, give us a call, shoot us a text, reach out to us. I'd love to put you in contact with some of the best lenders in the business that can get you pre-qualified really quickly. Whether or not you want to move forward in buying something or not, we can get the ball rolling so you can be confident and certain as to whether or not you want to move forward on this process or not. And then if you want to wait for the right property to come along, we can do that as well. But get the ball rolling, get pre-approved. There's options out there. And maybe in the future, you can look back and say, hey, because I bought that property with my E-5 BAH, it made such a difference in my financial future, and I'm so happy I did it, as opposed to just shelling out more money to Lincoln Housing. So if you want to do that, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. I'll see you in the next video.